Season 2, Episode 35, and we have a change up for you guys.
Very exciting podcast this week. Yam Haus, hour and 20 minutes. It's 6 dudes on a shotgun table talking about the start of their band and how it all came together. It's phenomenal. But anyway.
We got Zach, we got Seth, Jake, and Lawrence, the full band. There's 6 of us in that shotgun style table. It's pretty awesome.
It's amazing. We unpack their story. We really go deep into the music industry and everything. And we really wanted to just get that message across right away.
It's a very important podcast. They have been very impactful for us, and we're going to continue to collaborate with them. So we wanted to give you that full hour 20 of just Yam Haus.
Yep. So typically for the new listeners and for the old listeners, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Backpocket. Love to have you here. We normally do, we call ourselves entertainers. We're a show. So when we first start our podcast, typically you hear us for about 10 minutes. And then we get into our interview, and then you'll hear us again, wrapping up the show. This week, because of it is a change-up podcast, you won't get much of either of that on the front or back end of us. You'll just get Yam Haus. We're stoked to the max about it.
Since we're not giving you a personal content, we want to talk about ourselves for about 30 seconds. Little update. We have shirts full live on yourbackpockets.com. That's with an S, yourbackpockets.com.
Yep, and then click on the store tab, so yourbackpockets.com/store. We got our shirts in line. Nice, white, high thread count shirts with our logo on the front. They're looking fly as heck. You can go and find us they're on our website, obviously. Instagram, we're doing giveaways. Facebook, anywhere pretty much. On this podcast, it's going to be in the show notes if you guys are really curious. Get after it.
I love it. I love what we're doing. I love Yam Haus. Thank you, Yam Haus. We really do appreciate the hour 20 you gave us. Some really cool content. So intro music, it's your time to shine.
Let's get it.
Awesome. Well, this is Yam Haus. We have Zach, Seth, Jake, and Lawrence here. We're very excited. The first time we have 6 people recording into 3 mics.
Yes. That's awesome.
It's a very unique experience.
Yeah, and there's just going to be a ton of energy thrown out here.
Yes.
If any YouTube listeners are watching right now, they're probably just stoked out of their minds because it's just 6 knuckleheads at a shotgun-style table.
Heck yeah. Ready to talk.
Yeah, the boys are just ready. The boys are buzzing.
Slamming the sparkling waters.
We're bellied up at the bar, slamming sparkling waters. Phenomenal. Well, let's get right into it. We kind of talked a little off-air about this question, and it's a question that we ask all our guests, and you probably heard it a multitude of times on the podcast because we know you guys are avid listeners, avid marketing interns.
We love the Backpocket podcast.
Collectively, we'd like to hear, what is your average quality?
Should we say it all in unison at the same time?
That sounds very good.
Yeah. No, you can do the countdown again because I wasn't ready.
1, 2, 3.
Falling forward.
That sounds so bad.
So it's falling forward. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So falling forward is an idea that I'll start that we, as a team, a lot of times we'll be like meeting about stuff and trying to review, or like, hey, what are we planning next, or what are we trying to do? And a lot of times we find ourselves saying, well, let's just keep falling forward. Mm-hmm. And it kind of came from a lot of things that organically happened, but we realized it's the principle of like, whatever happens, make it work. So like, even if you planned it, even if you didn't plan it, if it goes how you planned, if it doesn't go how you planned, just like keep going. Sort of a mentality that we have, but you guys should elaborate too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like we early on we were very cooped up in terms of what we could and couldn't do with this process of like getting music out and booking shows and like all the things that we like as like people that invested in this project wanted to like begin to like taste and figure out like, all right, how are we gonna make this thing run? And once we got like the green light, we're like, all right, we're just gonna do this thing. It was like just sprinting ahead, having no idea, no experience, and like no insight of what was gonna work or wasn't gonna work. Yeah. But we just like made everything work, and some things like went poorly, and like there's some regrets of things that we could have done better, and there's some things that were like, man, if we didn't have like just the audacity to like keep moving, it's easy to get caught up in the things that held you back. But at the same time, like those are the experiences that we've learned from, which have been super, super helpful. And I think it's like, especially how fast everything moves with content and like just the shelf life of things, like just keep creating, just keep moving, just keep going forward, whether or not it's like your best product or not, or like your most proud work or not. Like if you take a day off and just like too zoomed in on one thing, like you just gotta keep moving.
And early on, that basically looked like us booking as many shows as we possibly could.
where that wasn't the norm for like the bands that were kind of surrounding us and what we were seeing happen. It was kind of a norm for like bands to book shows like once every other month or once every 3 months. And we kind of just got into this mindset of like, okay, we have our music ready to play, we have our gear, ready to go, and we kind of just started booking as much as we could. And so sometimes we were playing like 2 shows in the same week in the same area, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
And just really like kind of hitting it.
We get scolded.
Yeah, well, so one time, this is a negative outcome of Falling Forward. We were going to play 7th Street entry, 1st Avenue, for the first time or second time.
It was one of those, his first or second.
But we were in an opening slot, and we had been asked to play, so we were planning on it on a Tuesday, and then I think we had another show that Friday. Is that right? Or the next day even.
Or did we announce our album release show?
Yeah, we announced
That was it.
That's what it was, which is actually like 4 weeks out because we wanted to make sure that one was announced.
And so we announced our album, a huge show coming up for the summer, the day before we were going to play at
Or the day
this
of,
venue.
Or the day
It was the day before.
Yeah, and so, which is really like not a great move marketing wise, because then you're splitting people's attention, and they could be like, oh, I could see Yam Haus tomorrow, or I could see them at this really big show like a
I don't
month or
need to
2
come
from
now.
now.
Sure.
So it just was like us not realizing like the impact that it would have in the moment. And our friend James Taylor, shout out James Taylor at First Avenue, who's a booking agent there, he kind of sent us an email and was just like, hey man, not cool for announcing the show.
Yeah.
And it was one of those moments
Props
where
to him. 'Cause,
yeah,
like,
it was good.
very
It was
honest
really
with
good
us,
that he
and we learned.
let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was one of those moments where like, okay, we are just booking so much, we have to find room to like announce the shows and the things that we're up to.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a little too much, or just maybe not the right strategy. And so we did get a little bit of like a, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that next time. And it turned out fine. The show was great. People still came and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a good learning moment for the Falling Forward thing.
That's a great point when you talk about, there's a lot to unpack there, but honesty. We've been in the same situation where we send someone over some garbage, dude. Like
Sure.
just stuff that isn't checking out,
Yeah.
Doesn't go well. And that's a time for Andrew and I to really like reset and be like, okay, let's do this 100 times better than what we just did. It really like wakes you up a little bit.
Yeah.
And another thing you touched on too was like marketing. When you go into these things and you work so hard to produce an album, which we can get into a little later on the logistics of that, but ultimately it's not easy. And but the marketing is just as crucial as the production, which is crazy to think about. So, you guys are bringing that to light, which is phenomenal. So,
And also, mentioning that you got to continue to take action is so important. We've gotten that message time and time again through all the people that came on our show. Whether they phrase it as purposeful action, okay, it might not be the right thing to do, but figure out why you're doing it and just move forward, because you'll make a mistake and then you'll reflect on it, but then you'll move forward. And that's been a sweet theme that we've gotten. So, way to start off the podcast with a right on average quality.
yeah, it's falling forward, but failing forward.
Yeah.
Who writes that
That's
book?
good.
That's a book.
Yeah, it's a book. You have it in your
Fail
room.
Until You Don't. Bobby
Fail Until You
Bones.
Don't by Bobby Bones, but there's also Failing Forward by someone.
I think it might be you.
Did you write it?
You definitely.
Did you write that book?
I've heard.
Yeah.
So I wrote a book. Shout out to me being a book writer. Dude.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I have a blog. I write a blog, Backpocket, yourbackpockets.com. One blog every week for me. So something to think about.
Love that.
One blog, everyone knows the rules.
But let's touch on individually a little story that you can give me a little background, or our marketing interns a little background about yourself. So we'll start with you, and we will.
Zach. This is Zach. We're
Yeah,
talking.
we'll go through the instruments of every single person and maybe a little background of how you maybe met or just yourself.
Yeah. Well, I played bass in the band, but I've played drums my whole life. Lawrence was doing a gig one time and needed me to. He didn't have a bass player. I was like, man, I need
Slap at the bass.
someone to play the bass, and I knew how to play guitar, so he told me to learn it by the weekend, and I did, and it ended up working well, and now I love.
And now he's a bass player.
Now I play bass.
He used to be just
now
a
I
guy
play
who grabbed the bass,
Yeah.
but now he's a bass
But
player.
actually, Lawrence and I used to play hockey together.
Yep.
We played for Hudson, which is like right over the other side of the river.
Okay.
And we were both on the varsity team, but I was a senior and he was a sophomore, and he was
Go
a
on.
punk.
Go on.
I did not like Lawrence. When we met, I thought he was.
Let's go there. Let's go there right now.
Yeah. So
Let it out.
we had one time sticks out that we were losing to a team that we shouldn't have been losing to, and Lawrence, the positive guy, stood up and was like, "Come on, everybody, you need to work harder. And I like got up and just like got in your face pretty bad. But now here we are doing a podcast like how many years later?
Much more mature.
Yeah. So the relationship started off rocky, but once we started playing music together, and
Good times.
Okay.
That's sweet.
But I was going to comment. You guys are St. Thomas guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to St. Thomas for a year and a half.
That's right. You played receiver at St. Thomas, right?
I did, yeah. I got
Oh.
recruited to play there, and then I went
Okay.
to play at lacrosse for a bit, and then
Okay.
do research, dude.
Research.
Yeah, I'm scared.
I'm scared.
So, you're 24 right now?
I'm 26.
26.
Yeah, I'm the grandpa of the band.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the oldest one.
So you played with, let me see if I can get
Oh,
Fritz
God.
Wallvogel.
I do know Fritz.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep. You played
He
with
was older than
Matt,
I was.
Matt O'Connell,
The
quarterback?
Yeah. Yep.
or was it Dakota Tracy?
No, it was Matt because
Okay.
Dakota was like he was like as I was coming in.
Mhm.
It was like I don't know if you know Brady Irvin.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Bachelor.
Brady, the Bachelor.
Brady is in there.
He's
Yeah.
such
He's
a
a
good.
very hot man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I knew that crew actually because my older brother played football at St. Thomas. And so I knew like the Brian Villars and like the Brady Irvins and those guys just because of my older brother.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We had just had Coach Crusoe on, and he,
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he delivered some great content.
Yeah,
for
he's
us.
a
That's
content
awesome.
dude. Yeah.
Mhm. Sweet.
Right on.
So Seth, we'll kick it to you now.
Yes. I grew up in Hudson. I play electric guitar, lead guitar.
Nice.
Kind of picked it up in college. I was like super focused on school all the way through, like
Nerd.
finishing out. my
Where'd you go to
degree.
school?
U of M,
You have.
University of
So
Minnesota.
I was gonna be a doctor.
I was
Still
Dr.
could.
Bloom.
You still could. That's
Yeah,
right.
doctor
That's what I
guitar,
said. I said
man.
we can go for this rock and roll thing. You can go back when it fails, or if it fails.
When
It's just like 8
How
years.
many
Like,
options?
Yeah, Lawrence is the
$60.
positive guy here.
Yeah, even after you make it, you
Yeah.
can still become
Go
Dr.
back.
Seth.
Yeah.
That's true. You know, honestly, I don't think I'd go back if I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I don't know what happened, but
Don't worry about it.
Hey.
I'm here right now and I'm enjoying it.
Sweet. Lead guitarist. How'd you get into becoming the lead guitarist at the Yam House?
It's a good question. I met Lawrence in high school, played a lot of music together, sang choir together,
Yeah, that's right.
shared a lot of
What did we share? Go on.
special moments,
That's right.
writing songs together in his basement next to large elephant leaves.
Yeah, elephant ear
Um,
plants.
Yep.
That's
We
true.
were like in Minneapolis, like recording like little demo
Bad
tracks and like
demos. Yeah, we should
weird guys
give you
basement.
guys old, really bad demos.
Years ago.
Mm.
yeah.
We can actually play those bad demos like in the
Yeah.
background
Yes.
of this
I like that.
conversation.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be so good.
But we just like been connected for a long time, sharing music, and
Nice.
then it wasn't until recently when this project came up, I was on a totally different track. Like I'm gonna go like PA school or med school was like my next step, graduating college. And right before I was graduating, Lawrence called me and was like, "All right, it's time to like do this. This is it. Like if we're gonna do it, now's the time. This is the opportunity. This is the right people, the right team, the right vision." And so I talked to my wife and I was like, "All right, like are we gonna do this and like not hold back? Like this is gonna be plan A, no plan B for
All in.
as long as we can make it happen." So
Okay.
that was like 3 years ago almost.
Yep, took a
So
blood
it's
oath.
doing a sense.
Took a blood oath.
So, tapping into this real quick. You
Yeah.
mentioned wife. So you are a husband,
Oh yeah.
which is bananas and
Yeah.
light years ahead of my mindset
Yep.
and a lot of 22-year-old people's mindset.
Mhm.
And honestly, it sounds like, I mean, you wanted to be a doctor. You were super committed to the education game. And, I mean, it sounds like you're a renaissance man. It sounds like you had a lot of things, going for you, man. So
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
just keep that in
I've
mind,
been
marketing
lucky.
interns. Like, that's very impressive. Shout out to your wife, I met her once.
That is. Yeah, Mary's
Mary's
a part of the
awesome.
band.
She is.
She's
in the
so a part of the team.
She has to be.
And Lucy, our dog, too, is pretty much.
Yeah.
Golden Retriever.
Golden Retriever.
Yes.
All right, so Jake.
Yeah.
What's your story?
What's my story? So I am the drummer in the band, and I grew up in Metro Detroit. And I don't know, I'm kind of like slightly talking to the mic, but slightly talking to you.
Yeah,
guys.
don't just talk to us.
Natural.
I love it.
What do you got?
So I grew up in Metro Detroit.
Okay,
and
so you guys are sports fans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was at Malice at the Palace
Yo.
Yeah.
when Ron Artest fought those people.
Yeah.
You were
I was.
there?
I was there.
That was my reaction too.
I was like
man.
10 years old. I was at a birthday party like, with friends.
Hold
right?
on.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, stop the interview, dude.
tell us. We need the. Are you okay? Please, let's hear this.
Okay, I was 10 years old. I wasn't super into sports, but the Pistons was the one team I was always into. That was actually my first dream. I wanted to be a Detroit Pistons player. And I didn't know what action
close.
steps I was taking.
You're close.
I was super close. And so I loved going to the games, mostly because it was just something I did with my dad growing up. And so it was, I don't know, probably 10-year-old birthday. And we went.
This is your birthday?
This is my birthday. And
It's so
I invited
pretty,
all of my
Jake,
best
too.
friends, right? And so it's me and like all these other like 10-year-olds. I don't even know what grade I would have been in. And my dad. And we show up and we're like watching this game and it's getting ugly. Like, you know, people are just starting to like not get along and like the worst like crowd, like people are booing, like it's just like really getting nasty. And so my dad's like, yeah, I think we should take off. Like it's not going well. And so we start leaving and then everything erupts at that point. That's when I think a beer got thrown from an audience member at one of the players.
Yeah, because
Ron
Ron
Artest,
Ron
right?
Artest was on the score, the score
Yes.
table,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was
Sure.
laying down, and that's when some dude
Yes.
hucks the beer. I think it either hit him or got close. but
Yes.
the beer hit him.
Yep.
The
And
beer
so
hit him.
he jumped onto the person who threw it and was punching him. Right?
How close
So-
are you at this point?
So I'm like, so at that point we actually did start to leave. So we were like starting to leave, and then we saw like, okay, something is happening. So we popped back in, and we were like looking down from like an upper
Second
level,
level,
like
yeah.
yep. So we were just like looking in and like, what is even happening? And we were pretty short back then, so we didn't see like everything that was happening.
Pretty short 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
So you're saying Weiss, your dad's also short.
No, my dad's he's like 6 foot.
Okay.
But
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, but like people are being punched and beer is everywhere. It was a dramatic, like traumatic experience as like someone who wanted to be a Pistons player.
That's so good.
Isn't that wild, dude?
That's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
What was your gut reaction in that moment when you saw?
I felt dirty inside.
Just pull that sound clip out for later.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail the whole
No.
No.
When
That's
you
good.
told me that, I had the same reaction of like, dude, tell me everything. Cause
Yeah,
that
yeah,
blows
yeah.
my mind.
10 years old.
Yeah, and
The world's rocked. Like, this is
It's
actually
crazy,
happening
yeah.
in sports.
And I mean, I don't even think I realized what a big deal it actually was until later on when it like went down in history as like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
very big sports, fight. So, anyways, that happened.
So you're Jake.
So I'm Jake.
You're the guitarist. Or the
drummer.
drums.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So I started playing music. I was in 5th grade. I tell this story. I think I've told this story 3 times in the last 2 days, which is so funny. But it's kind of a fun way that I started playing music. I was sitting at the dinner table with my family. My dad had mentioned something about back in high school when I played drums, and I had never heard him mention anything like that. And I was like, wait, what? You played drums growing up? And he's like, yeah, I still have the drum set in the basement. I'll pull it out after dinner. And he pulled it out and he set it up and like played a little bit and handed me the sticks. And I remember thinking, man, this is something that I really want to do. And I didn't even know why, but it just like, it pulled me. And I think it's because of how much music I already had listened to at that point. I just was drawn to it. So yeah, I grew up playing music, had a band in high school, played on drumline in high school, did all that. And then, went to school, downtown Minneapolis, studied music, when I was at school, a small school called North Central. And I had graduated and was playing music in the cities, and it was it was last July now, and I had met these guys briefly, and Lawrence asked me to meet up for coffee, and they were kind of in a time of transition and getting like really serious about this project, and they were like, we're really going for this thing, we're in the process of finalizing the album, and we want you to be a part of it. We want you to jump in and drop everything you're doing in your life and move to Hudson.
Quit
and,
your life. Yep.
Yeah, and essentially was what it was. It was actually really funny. There was a couple dynamics. When you met with me, you had 3 questions. You're like, first of all, at the time I was managing like a cover band that like does weddings. And he's like, first of all, I just want to pick your brain about like how to like play a wedding. We got asked to play a wedding. I'm like, oh yeah, sweet. He's like, second of all, if you want to play the wedding with us, we would love that. I'm like, oh sure, yeah, I think I'm in for that. He's like, third of all, if you want to just quit everything that you're doing and leave your life that you've always known.
And that's when I pulled the knife out.
Yeah.
One of
And move in with us. You could do that. And at first it was like so.
You're like, there's no way.
It was in my mind I was like, there's no way. Like I already was doing so many things in music and like had my community. I was living in Bloomington, Minnesota at the time, and I literally took a couple days and just thought about it. Talked through it with some friends, and for some reason I knew it was right, and I don't even know why. I'd come to the studio and I heard some of the songs in process at that point, And I think that really shifted my perspective too, where I was like, okay, for some reason I'm drawn to this music and I can see the potential in it. And so I really did. It was actually like a week's time. I quit my life. I basically like moved from Bloomington over to Hudson in with these guys.
It's crazy.
All my friends like were surprisingly like in support. And it wasn't like I was moving like, well, I was moving out of state technically, but just over the border. But but everyone was so supportive early on, and it was a big transition. So that was literally like last August. So we're just past kind of like the year and month or 2 month mark
Sweet.
of me being in this thing. Wow. So.
Right on. So you're technically the newbie.
Yeah, I would be considered the newbie of Yam Haus.
Gotcha.
He's what made us Yam Haus. We weren't Yam Haus until Jake came in.
Right on. All right, Lawrence.
Oh, hold on. Should we call you Lars or should we call you Lawrence?
I'm glad you started there.
It's the age-old question.
Yeah, you can do truly whatever you like.
Some people call him Larry.
Some people call me Larry. It's my grandpa's name. My grandpa goes by Larry, but he's originally Lawrence, and I'm named after him.
Okay.
Fun fact, when I was a kid, I one time told people, I used to say to people when I was like 5 years old, my name is Larry, but people call me Lawrence. Because I was named after my grandpa, and I knew that. And they call him Larry. And I'm like, okay, so that's a nickname then, Lawrence for Larry. Anyways.
That's awesome.
It's not a nickname.
No, and Lars was just because I think it's just like a really good friend of mine named Sam just one day was like, I want to call you Lars. I shall call you Lars. And I was just like, okay, you're calling me Lars now. And it was this weird, like, oh, I'm sure this will be a phase. And it just took off like wildfire. It just like stuck. Because it's easier than Lawrence. It's easier to write, like, or like to give to a barista to say Lars is so much better than Lawrence. Because they're like, as soon as you say Lawrence, they're like, like writing out the name. So that means kind of a longer name. But anyways, so Lars is just easier.
Lars is also just such a band name. Like,
Yeah,
It is kind of a band name. It's actually, it simplifies it because now we all have four-letter names.
Yeah.
sure.
Right?
Wow.
Hey.
that's good for the business.
Great for business.
And I'm not in a business in terms of singing and writing songs.
Sure.
You could be.
But you could pick up on that.
But I could definitely.
You can see
Dude,
that.
there's a super low entrance fee now to all that whole game. You can get in now.
Let's talk offline about that. Oh, but okay, let's start, man. Let's start with this, Lars. It sounds like you're the businessman. It sounds like you're the creator, the founder of this whole Yam Haus.
If you could only know how funny that question you just said to these guys sitting next to me. Yes, I am probably the founder, if you wanted to put it that way. I mean, I hope that as time progresses, we're all known as the founders and we all are known as the businessmen because I've put a lot of effort and intentionality into trying to make it that this is truly a four-headed monster. Which is like to Jake's point of like he quit his life to do this. Like he literally in a week was like, okay, we are officially doing this. Like all of it, like his whole life was turned upside down. So yes, I did have that first sort of seed to say I was like the crazy person. If this is a movement, I'm that first crazy person that's like dancing by themselves in the field. And then these guys are like the initial people that come over and go, okay, we can do this, and then we're hoping it'll become a movement. But yeah, I was the crazy person that's kind of decided to jump, and then these are the people that are jumping with me.
Right on.
So yeah, that's true. Yes.
So then my next question would be, where did you get the inspiration to start Yam Haus? Like, where did you get the name?
Sure.
And how did
Well,
it
that was a
come together?
process with all of us, but I can
Nice.
elaborate on it. We actually originally called ourselves Afton, and we were told we had this guy we were working with from New York who was a really like veteran, hardworking, true to the craft, like intense music industry vet, and he was like on our case from the onset that name wasn't going to work, and so he had us start a daily vlog and like all these things that he was like sort of grooming us to get more into like a marketing business mode. And then we literally spent that whole year knowing that our name would have to change, but we were working really hard on Afton, but knowing we we're trying to find like a legally Scotch-free name. And that was like the weirdest phase for sure of this whole thing, because like there was nothing being released or done. We were working so hard, and all of our families like, what is happening right now?
What was the time frame from Afton to Yam Haus?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It was blurry.
It's like maybe like April to August of 2017.
Oh my god, no idea.
I want to say
So
that's
is this
spring.
right before you joined board?
Yes.
Yeah, so I technically was never part of Afton.
Zero?
Like when I jumped into it,
Yes.
we rebranded to Yam Haus.
Yes.
So September 23rd of last year was our official like Yam Haus. We announced it and went public and like created our
Yep.
social media accounts.
Yeah.
But so Afton was literally probably like when did Jordan first approach you?
Man, it's again tough. That goes further back because there was a point where I was just working with this label who basically just consisted of this crazy guy enough to want to like work with me when all of us were nobodies, but like I was just like happened to be playing a gig at a band show in Hudson. And this guy comes up to me after and he's like, "Hey man, I got a studio and like I want to give you my number." And I'm just like,
raspy.
"Okay, yeah." Seriously, if you can meet, we still work with him. He's literally like our guy.
Jordan's
So,
he's our
Jordan's
man.
our bulldog. He's our true business guy.
Yeah.
And he met me, and I remember just being like, okay, like I don't know what this is gonna amount to. I don't even know if I'm gonna do it. I decided to finally be like, all right, I'll come out to your studio and like get out your space. And it's just like,
you cannot
yeah. And it's of course, it's his basement of his beautiful home, and it's the whole basement's a studio, and it's just like the equipment is
It's insane.
top notch.
It's
for
like a
every
Nashville
studio-
quality
yes.
studio that happens to be in
International.
Hudson, Wisconsin.
Yeah, like he literally had people from like London that if I could remember their names and somebody listening to this that cares about these things, if they would be like, wow, that's insane, that guy worked. He did like the acoustics in it. He like knew the Rolling Stones, that guy. Anyways, so this guy's like decked out, has this dream, and he wants to start a record label. He wants to he has a dream to like get into music. And I'm like his first guinea pig, and I'm kind of like, man, this is crazy. Like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And right away, we weren't really sure what was gonna happen. And then like a few weeks went by. I remember I was with Seth in the car one night because, again, this is before like we even knew we wanted to for sure do this. We've been in bands together growing up, but we didn't really know if we were gonna get serious about it. But this guy calls me and he's like, we had not talked for a while, and again, he's got that raspy mobster voice. And I pick up the phone. I'm with Seth. We're sitting in the car. We're at like a gas station, like in between. We just been somewhere, And all of a sudden, Jordan just right off the top, I pick up the phone. Hello, and he goes, "I got you a producer." And I'm just like, oh my god, this guy is just like hounding me down. Yeah, he's like literally like he's like slowly like getting to the place. Again, making me an offer I can't refuse. But then I didn't know who the producer was, but his name is Mark Heimerman, and he said to look him up, and I was like, okay, I looked him up, and he's got like Grammys. Like the dude's won 2 Grammys. He's worked with some really big like late 90s acts, so he's definitely like been around. He's a veteran guy, but he moved up here from Nashville like 4 years ago. Anyways, so I meet him, and that goes really well. The first day we ever met, we actually wrote the song West Coast together, and a number of other tunes that made it on the record eventually. And he's sort of if we were the Beatles, he's like our George Martin, Mark Heimerman is. He's like our musical father and coach, and like everything we do kind of goes through him in a way, musically. So, yeah, and he grooms us.
He's so good. He's really
standard.
talented.
He's so intense.
We're just a bunch of punks who love playing music.
Yeah.
But like when we rehearse and he's in the room, like the standard gets brought
it's
to a
like,
level of it's like
we're like nervous
yeah.
to rehearse with Mark around.
Does he ever smile? It sounds like a guy.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he's got a heart of gold,
yeah.
but when he works, he's
Yes.
like German. His last name's Heimerman, so he's like, he's very intense type A, like, we're gonna get this done. Like,
Well, and he's just been in the industry for so
he's
long.
got a high standard.
Yeah, he has a very high standard. He
Yeah.
sees what like
Yeah.
a
And he's not
level is.
afraid to share his opinion.
Yeah.
He's very matter of fact about it. And it's not in a negative way.
Yep.
It's in actually a quite positive way.
Yeah.
We've grown a lot because
It's refreshing too. I feel like a lot, and you guys know this too. Like being in the Midwest, it feels like there can be a lot of like passive aggressiveness. Just like tell me what you want to tell me. And so like,
Yeah.
we'll finish a song and they'll say like, hey, that was bad work on that.
Yeah, that was not
But
good.
right away it's like, dude, and then it's like, oh no, this is actually like
the
super
Midwesterner in us
helpful.
is like, oh my gosh, this is weird. Like,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of like compliance, or what is the word I'm looking for?
Complacency.
Complacency.
Appliances.
Compliance is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of appliances.
Kitchen appliances specifically.
I feel like in the Midwest, there's more appliances than other regions.
Shout out to
It's a real issue.
appliances.
It's a real issue.
Not a
yeah.
sponsor, but shout out to appliances.
Just in general.
Anyways, Mark is like our loud, you can do better voice. And in encouraging ways, not in negative ways at all. I mean, again, we noticed, if it wasn't for Mark, we would probably just be another basement indie band who is really happy and loves what we do, but it's not going to be a living and we'd all be still working other jobs and stuff.
Yep.
But because of Mark's attitude and Jordan, the guy
Yes.
who runs that label, they've pushed it to be something where we actually live on it today.
Seriously.
We're
Sweet.
full-time with her being on our team and him being on our team.
That's Oprah and Patrick.
Oprah and Patrick.
Oprah and
Yeah, shout out Oprah.
Our manager and
Yes.
Oprah, who is like our marketing intern.
Manager.
Manager.
She's our
Senior
insert
executive.
the
Senior
word for
executive.
fan of the
We
Backpocket
want one of
podcast.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking to get one of those.
Yes.
So Oprah, we're hiring.
Yeah.
But
If you know anyone.
yeah. But let's unpack
Yeah.
how Yam Haus fits into the music industry right now. To give our marketing interns a little background of like genre you guys hit, and then where you fit in. How would you frame it? Like, not like. I don't know how to phrase it.
Where are you trying to get at? Like you're saying the kind of music they are?
So genre of
Yeah.
music,
Okay.
and then
And level. That was the one.
level
Levels. Like where you feel like you guys are at right now.
in the industry.
In the
Good.
industry.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's
We're
a good-
huge, biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
Probably.
Super exhausting.
No, I would say genre-wise, for a long time, I don't think we knew how to describe it, and I think that's okay to kind of let other people start kind of relating your music to like where it
Yeah.
fits in the industry.
Yeah.
And honestly, the best term that I've heard described is like synth pop rock, because that kind of captures like what we do. You know, we're influenced by so many different genres. Zach is a huge hip hop lover and rap lover. I think we all appreciate folk music a lot. We love country. That's probably actually we do love Casey Musgraves. Do you know Casey Musgraves?
Yeah, I care about Casey Musgraves.
Dude, me too.
I care about her.
Dude,
We-
I love that. Shake my hand. Wow.
We really we do love Casey Musgraves.
The best man win.
But then we have tons of inspiration, you know, from Coldplay, from U2.
Yeah. Anybody who hears this and says they're not inspired by Coldplay, you're wrong. So
What was the?
you can admit it or you can lie about it.
in the nominee, and like as we pulled up, they had like a little
Oh, this was
signage
good.
up
This was
front,
good. One of our first
and it
games.
said like come
this
see
is
Yam Haus tonight. And what was the genre?
Indie funk.
No,
No.
yeah, was it indie funk?
It was like indie funk
indie-
music.
indie
We're like,
funk.
what?
We'll take it.
To be honest though, hear me out on this a little bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like indie, the term indie
Is so-
is not a genre,
It's not
dude.
real.
It's like a
No.
lame excuse for
Yeah.
just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Because you can listen to an indie song and
Yeah.
you would like default to
Is
like
a
almost
million things.
EDM, and
Sure.
then you go like indie rock, and you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, like
Yeah, it's
this
like, how
is
did that
kinda
word
what-
sneak in there? That's like being like,
it is interesting. Because
We're like-
technically we are an indie band because
Yeah.
we're independent. Well, you know, we're technically with
Sure.
Hover. You know,
We're not with like a major.
yeah, we're not with
Yeah.
a major
But
record
that was the thing
label,
too is
but-
like, especially in this area, I think if like you go up, because like overall we'll be like, oh, we play pop music.
Yep.
And I think that word is like so dirty in like this area.
It's
Where, like,
frowned
you go to
upon.
a-
Yes.
like
Frowned upon.
this
And
is
it's
the
tired.
scene up here is very indie, is very kind of like underground.
Americana.
Yeah, so we'll be like, hey, we're a pop band, and a lot of people right away,
Roll their
regardless
eyes.
if they hear our music or not, will roll their eyes and be like,
Another
pop
pop
band.
Yeah.
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 But it's like, yeah, we kind of got over that pretty quick. We're like, yeah, we'll play.
I feel
Hopefully, we play popular music. Like
All
that.
bets are off. I
Yeah.
feel like the phenomenon that was pop music came, conquered, and now it's just slowly like fading into whatever
Bleeding out.
the new
Yeah,
Wild
for
West
sure.
of music's gonna be.
Mhm.
Which I saw some stuff in there that excited me. You guys had sent us some more questions
Yeah.
about.
Well, we had talked about that
Exciting.
before, and one thing that was super nuts was this music culture now. Like
Yeah.
I listen to I study a lot of music.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
I've watched the Eagles documentary on Netflix
I love
Nice.
a
that.
handful of times, and,
Love
that's- and I love Nirvana. I love the
Love
grunge
it.
era. I grew up with a lot of music, put it that way. And
Yeah.
you know, the back in the day, it was album sales. Drive your marketing towards album sales. Then use your concerts to promote your album sales. If you go platinum in album sales, boom, you're good. You're making money. Everyone's happy. Album sales have been totally shut down. It's Spotify, Apple Music, these monthly services. And now you're kind of in this situation that I've noticed and what you guys are kind of doing, which is you gotta just be showman and you gotta perform.
Yeah.
And if you don't perform, you're losing.
Yeah.
So where, like, I mean, I would love for you guys to just expand on that.
We're a traveling clothing company that
And entertainment.
and
Yeah.
that shows up to places and performs
Yeah.
music.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never
Say,
heard
wait,
you say
hold on.
that.
Say that again.
We're,
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can.
There's a lot of truth to
Sneak
this.
in entertainment right before clothing.
Okay.
We're a
Wait.
traveling.
Hey, let the man speak.
We're a traveling clothing company that entertains people at shows with music that we write.
Yes.
because like the days are gone of.
It's actually our mission
People don't
statement.
make, unless you're Drake, you don't make money off your music.
Yeah.
So like you play shows and you sell merch. So like those are the ways that people make money. Like the middle pack makes money these days because unless you're Drake's gonna get a huge chunk from Spotify, but like
And there are other methods of licensing that are like this is big gray abyss area of like
Who you know.
who you know, what you get placed.
Yeah.
It's like a very political arena that we are not in right now currently, but that is something that like I think artists do.
But that comes back to like when you were talking about falling forward, like things are changing so fast in the music industry and within the podcast industry and in whatever we're doing right now with social media and technology that like if you wait for someone to tell you what to do, like you're gonna be behind already. So all you can do is just try and fail and go forward. So like that kind of came out of necessity for us where it's like, oh, we're just waiting for the magic thing to come along, we'll sign a contract and then we'll be big and famous. But it was like, no, we just have to try and fail and learn and then try again. And that's the whole first thing we talked about is like how you need to go in the music industry right now, at least what we're seeing.
It's cool. That is the weirdest thing about where the music industry has shifted over the years, and we're still learning. You know, we are learning so much every day just by observing what's happening. And Zach, you said it. It's like, performances and merch are the two ways that you can make money and make a living in music. Selling your music isn't really a thing that we're trying to do as a band. You know, we kind of made that decision early on. We're not trying to make profit off our music. There's some that comes in and that's helpful, you know, and like Zach said too, like Drake or Taylor Swift or Ed Sheeran, you know, they're going to make money off of music. But in the grand scheme of things, like you said, it used to be the main source of income. And now it's shifted so much where the music that you put out is still your main product, but you're not trying to sell it. You're trying to give it away for free and have as many people hear about it as possible through streaming, through Spotify, through Apple Music. But the real way that you survive as a business and as an artist is you sell your merch and you sell tickets.
And I think one thing, you know, having Andrew and I have seen you each once. I've seen you twice now. You guys blew me away, and we're gonna see you a third time.
No way.
Thanks,
Cool,
man. Yeah.
This Saturday, shout out to Sarah Schuler. This event already happened, but she's throwing on this awesome event that's going to be awesome.
It was super fun.
Yes.
You guys crushed that event. Like that was the best concert I've ever been to.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, your guys' cover of the Macarena, like the things you guys are doing. Right
Trying
now.
to change the game, man.
Musical genius.
And what's funny is like I actually kind of want to expand on that a little bit, and it's being showman. I think Lawrence, you told me this, or Lars, you told me this one time of like you guys are practicing being showman and really trying to understand your audience, understand your crowd at that moment in time, but also studying it in the behind doors and understanding what people actually want to hear, what they like. And that's not what a lot of older bands have, where, you know, you guys are in this great era of having to be showmen. So the successful people are showmen, whereas the previous era was built off of, it's nostalgia at this point. People go to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers because of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or Lynyrd Skynyrd, or like, you know, the list goes on, right?
Billy Joel.
You guys have such an authentic advantage over them because you can put on a show.
Thanks,
Cool,
man.
man.
Thank you.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well, tell us that again next time we're like tired and lazy in a new town. Man, do we really have to put a show on tonight? Like, I'm gonna remember this.
So
moment.
I should talk about that a little bit though. Like, you guys put on so many shows, like that's exhausting.
Sure.
Like what? Like, how do you guys do it?
I think what's tough is, and we actually had a moment pretty recently in Madison where, like, I think, man, I'm so I'm such a critic and not a fan of the whole like live authentic Instagram lifestyle like vibe out there of like people. It's almost this weird new bubble of non-authenticity, which is live authentic. And here's this picture of me in front of a giant, beautiful Grand Canyon like vignette or something. I don't know. So I'm not trying to be that guy. That's my preface to what I'm about to say. But like, it is really hard to be an entertainer and have a bad day. You know, to be like positive, like we just want to spread positivity, you or me, treat others, you know, higher than you would treat yourself, which is an exhausting challenge. It's impossible, really. But we want to be reminded about all those things. But then come game time of a show, to just like smile and like jump around. Like some days that can be really exhausting when you're like just not in the right headspace. So we haven't had anything crazy, but I think the closest thing of like having to kind of overcome some of those obstacles was we were in Madison And it was a new town, and we spent the whole previous day in Madison, like promoting the show. We were running around, meeting new people, like just doing the guerrilla warfare game of like getting rejected, like handing out flyers, like just mobbing the streets, which I actually love. Like I love that challenge, but it's super like emotionally and just like personally exhausting to be out all day and then sleep and then get up and then do another show that night. And so there was, and we've had some history now where we've had some wins and some losses, with certain opportunities or whatever. And not to go too long, but on the stage, we just have this point where we talk. Typically, I try to say something that's like sort of just poignant to that night or that moment and why I'm excited about it. Or maybe I know, a couple personal things about who's here and why I like that. And I've heard people critique that, like, don't be grateful from the stage. Like, that's not that cool. Somebody said that to me once. And I was like, okay, like, screw you, first of all. Yeah. No, but so that is like a moment in time where we intentionally put time in for me to just kind of talk. And I do want to work on not rambling or just like being like, what is this guy even saying right now? But that night, for some reason, I just was like sort of bumming out. And we were all kind of in this weird like mindset. And I just like recognized it and was super honest about like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've been afraid to talk to you all night. I've been afraid to like reach out to you guys because for the first times we've actually received a little bit of like rejection from this booking agency. They are awesome people, but they mentioned like you talk too much on stage. They said that to our team, and that like for some reason just like shook my confidence. But then I realized it was changing how I was, and it was bothering me. So then all of a sudden I just like laid it out on stage and was just like, guys, here's the situation. Like, here's what's happening in my head. Yeah. You guys all paid to give me a counseling session tonight. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. Well, there's
it was good.
There's totally a thing of being transparent with your audience that people totally vibe with.
Sure.
And they immediately start to relate with you, and then they can pick up who you truly are. Yeah. And when you're open like that, I totally feel, and we recognized it when you were talking to us at the show over by the Cedar.
Sure.
Yep. It was awesome. You guys were wrapping up a long tour that you guys just had, and this was the final quote-unquote one. Yeah. And you were just laying it out, and we were like, this is so cool. You guys are going all out for us, whether you were or not. It doesn't matter. It felt like you were.
That night that was
we were riveted that.
And you guys were being transparent. And I totally, that's something that we try to consistently remember and try to be open with our audience in that way because people will connect.
Well, I saw that on your Instagram. You guys were talking about how you started with your shirts off in this podcast, and then you're like, we're right back to where we started, and like that was cool. I was like reading some of your posts. Like, I see that in you guys' brain for sure too. I love that.
Hey, also, we as a podcast would like to thank you as a band for giving us a shout out at the Cedar.
Absolutely.
You should have seen us.
We were little kids.
Let's detail this a little bit.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Let's hear this.
So at the concert, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, if I get any of this wrong, but it was like kind of younger people in the front. Mm-hmm. It was Andrew and I in the middle, and
like
then
our age,
just
people,
like
people graduating college in their 20s, mid 30s,
sure, yeah,
and then older people who are
people in the back,
just
enjoying it. So we were in this like really weird, kind of rush up with the little kids and get crazy, and then I could get pushed back, and now you're in parents' lap.
That's good.
And when you guys gave us that shout out, dude, Andrew and I were just like beers up, little girls, dude. It was hilarious. I don't know if anyone got it on film, but
I don't think so. Giselle was dying though. She was laughing at us because of how we reacted.
That's amazing.
So, I
love that. For sure. That's awesome.
Super cool.
And I don't know if you remember, but when we came up for the pictures, I was still just like on cloud nine. Just bowing. I was like, you guys, thank you again. Like no one knows who the Backpocket podcast is in this audience probably right now. However, we know that's us.
It's awesome. That's super cool. That's what it's all about.
And so one thing, I guess, brutally transitioning to one thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The first time I met you guys, I actually introduced myself individually, I think, to every single one, starting with Seth, ending with probably Zach. But Lars and I were talking about how we hadn't talked about like bad boy culture and like clearly looking at the four of you like very much bad boys, but like
thanks for confirming that.
Yeah, no, it's confirmed here.
You're individually bad men.
Yes, we are bad boys.
Bad boys, dude. But anyways, you guys, I mean, there is this always like this era of teen angst. There's always going to be teenagers that are listening to music that are trying to get out like some sort of message or feelings. Mm-hmm. And right now, I think it's kind of in this really hard rap industry,
Yeah,
like
that's what it
Travis
is.
Scott and
Sure.
Kid Cudi kind of, but those kind of artists are really capturing that teen angst. But I
Yes.
think, like, do you guys want to, is this where you guys want to kind of capture? Do you want to capture that teen angst?
We're in the midst of trying to just determine that ourselves. I think
Okay.
we're making more music as we speak. We have a lot of songs. We have a studio, like that studio I was telling you about, at our disposal. And so we've worked really hard to keep the writing moving and continuing. And I think that's tough because sometimes you want to be transparent. You want to be honest that your life's not always just great, and love songs can only get you so far. Sometimes you have to talk about other things. But yeah, I'd say we're trying to figure that out right now. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
I think, part of the whole like committing to like a year of daily vlogging and going through that like crazy process of sacrificing all the time and energy of creating content and the music and looking around like the industry of who else is creating content and whose YouTube pages that are getting blown up and
Sure.
what new artists are getting discovered and who are they, what are they about, what's their message and it is a crazy time because everyone can create something and just put it out there and there's so much. There is like you want to follow something and be someone that you can't be on social media or on YouTube, or you want to listen to music that your parents wouldn't want you to. Like the natural like teenager.
It's
like
just
that,
tough for us
that
because we're
vibe.
really pro mom and we love moms everywhere
But it's, you see,
Shout out to moms.
Shout out to mom.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah.
Every day.
every day.
They are a sponsor. Moms.
That's true.
Do not confuse that.
Which ties right into kitchen appliances, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry I interrupted you.
Actually, that's it.
No, I just like there's a lot of garbage out there. Is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we want to be something that like creates. We want to be a group that is like collectively being like,
Yeah.
all right, how do we like compete with that? Because there's entertainment value to that stuff that like
Yeah.
because we decided like, all right, we're not going to be
Yeah.
like a certain way on front of the camera. Like we lose out on some of the sexy marketing things that other people have at their fingertips.
Absolutely.
But
There's something a little jacked up to me about like intentionally trying to position your art in a way that you would go, man, I hope a depressed teen really loves this. Like I hope that a depressed teen loves our music. I hope that everybody loves our music. But I don't want to ever start to like capitalize on the vulnerable or confused state somebody happens to be in, or like the painful state they happen to be in. Like I'm not trying to. If something happens that resonates really well with teen angst, I would hope that it's an accident on our end. Like I would hope that it's not like we went into the studio and we're like, man, this one goes out to all those really dark kids. It's like no, they're not dark kids. They're just kids, and like I don't really know their life. I know that there is a general consensus that when you're young, you're trying to figure yourself out, and that's exhausting. Middle school sucks. We can all agree forever. Like I don't think that'll ever change. But like
unless you're homeschooled.
unless you're homeschooled, that's true. Go on,
Middle
Seth.
school sucks.
Seth, it seems like you need to get something off your chest.
Now we can move on.
Okay.
No.
I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do is just write songs that are honest.
Yeah, honest.
Honest to where we're at, honest to what we're trying to do, what we're figuring out. Yeah, if there's something that like emotionally is resonating with teenagers, then so be it. But I mean, that's what I love about Lawrence actually in the way he songwrites. He doesn't write a song that's not true to himself. I've never heard him even write a lyric that was not like a real feeling that he was feeling or a real thing that he was thinking about. And I think that's kind of what we're all aiming towards is like, how can we write songs that are real for us, that other people are going to resonate with? And that's actually something I heard, I can't remember what songwriter I was listening to on another podcast talk about. It's like, I think some of the best songs out there are the songs that you're listening to, and they're not like introducing a new concept to you, but they're literally singing something that you're like, I've been there. I've felt that before.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, like write about something that resonates with people, I think that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
But we're just figuring it out too. We don't know.
Because if it's real for you, it's real for somebody else too.
Yep.
Guaranteed. Every time. You can take that to the bank. Like, I want to find something that resonates with somebody because it's real, and I could waste all my time trying to like manufacture that, or I could just like, here's what's real for me, and then find who my people are.
Yeah.
Who are going to find us and find our music and be into it.
And if you so happen to touch into teen angst and like something that may be in a negative connotation to start,
Sure.
I feel like the mantra that you guys started off this podcast with falling forward, there might be something like in the first 30 seconds to the first few lines that says like, okay, this is something that could resonate, but then you kick it into drive and it's like, this is how we responded and this is how we took it. And
Sure.
look at us now.
Sure.
Like, granted, you have those feelings, everyone does. I'm going to be real with you right now.
Yeah.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
But then we took that and we embraced those feelings We weren't pushing them to the side like you could be,
Sure.
and just get worse and fall into more of this
Sure.
hole, and then you take it to that next level.
Sure.
And like the people he's mentioned, and Travis Scott, they're taking it and just digging the hole, like
Sure.
just continuing
Driving
to
it
jump
home.
in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And bring everyone into that hole, or make it as wide as we can.
Sure.
And never uplifting you. I don't know exactly if that's how he goes about, but that's how if you're at that concert, Travis Scott concert, it is just mayhem. Like no positive vibes. It's just utter mayhem.
I've never been. We should go. We actually, Zach and I want to go to Denzel Curry at First Ave. Like we're gonna go. If you guys want to come with us, you should totally go. Because I've like never been to, especially not currently, like a big hip hop artist. Like what that culture is. I know Denzel's super real, super
He's,
honest, brutal, intense, and
I fall
love
more to
that.
that camp as far as like the music I listen to of like I want authenticity and realness like more than I want anything else. So if like you're feeling like crap, like tell me, I want to hear that. And so like I hear that a lot in hip hop, which is why I like listening to hip hop.
Yeah.
And like there's positives in both sides.
It does need to come back though in rock and roll. Like hip hop has taken the throne, which is fine. Like I love that. How cool is that? You know, there's something that was originally brought forth by a people group that were completely suppressed in our country are now the kings of this industry. Like that's dope. And I was talking to like I get like somebody on Twitter was bashing us like end all boy bands 2K18 like was a tweet that somebody said to us. Which like first of all, let's unpack that. Like okay, we're a boy band now. All right, we'll be a boy band. Like I think the thing that's gonna bring out the most teen angst vibes in me is just the whole annoying human tendency to want to label everything and have a box for it. Here's where it fits. I think that's the problem. I heard Giselle talk about that on your podcast a little bit, and I resonated with that. But I don't want to be mad about it. I want to embrace it. Like, sure, if you want to call me a boy band, if that fits better into your subconscious, like if that makes you understand us better so you can like classify us psychologically for you, do it. Like, go ahead. If we're a hard rock band, if we're a synth pop band, if we're just a bunch of pretty boys, if we can't play, whatever it is, like, bring it on. But that's, I think, the thing that gets the closest to like teen angst for me. We have a song right now we're working on called How Do You Want It? And it's just like one big, like, our attempt at like, okay, do you see how ridiculous this is? They're like, I mean, if this is art, then don't tell me what to do. If it's art, don't tell me what to do. If it's business, let's talk. If it's, you know, how can we work better together? How can we communicate better? Then let's talk. And that's why, like, we all write a little bit. And, like, if you bring this song, like, that's your song. Like, let's figure it out. Like, if I was a producer out there, like, you shouldn't try to make an artist who they are. You should develop that artist into being able to beautifully and craftily tell who they are. And don't change that, you know?
Mm-hmm. That really resonates with me. That I didn't really even think of that. Like, you guys are artists. Like the term artists is that canvas is like, this is what you guys put out there.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to create whatever you want. I mean, granted, we quote unquote are entertainers and kind of have that same vibe, but it's not as creative maybe with that connotation of the word artist. Would you agree, Dak?
Depends how you look at it. Yeah. They, like, you can look at these guys as entertainers too. You show up to their concert and they're flashing lights.
But could you consider us artists?
Yeah, because there's a format to our podcast. We have to produce content. We have to design T-shirts. Like,
and you steer it too.
And we steer everything. And that's when you get, like, Seth, you put it perfectly. Like, yeah, we're a band, but look at all the things that we also have to do to make money.
Yes.
We're forced right now to learn how to make money,
Yes.
which is exactly like the base of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Not only are you guys musicians, not only are you guys artists, but you're also entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And it's nuts to even think about that. And that's something that when Andrew and I started in our sunroom at our college house, there's no way in hell we thought that we were going to be artists and that this was going to be a production and something that we created.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you're making it your own. In a way, podcasts too, it reminds me of it's almost like artistic journalism, where it's like you guys are journalists because really your job is to care a lot about other people's stories and then pull those out. But in doing so, and with the way the world is today, everybody almost in a way has to be an artist because self-expression is at an all-time high because now you have your own platform at all times that you can brand and make it look how you want, and that's going to make somebody feel that a certain way. And that was like not even a thing before. Like to even have your music recorded was at one time like a huge deal. Like you have recorded music, and now we literally like everybody has everything at their hands. Like it's literally up to you to go grab it. And so I would call you guys like artistic journalists in a way.
And conversationalists, because you guys create the platform to be able to share artists, people to share. And so you're.
And that's why I wanted to meet with you guys. Like I was telling these guys before, I was like, the main reason I actually want to meet with you guys is because I actually feel like a kindred spirit there of like, we're both younger dudes. We're all younger dudes, just like kind of starting our careers, wanting to make a dent, wanting to go out and be kind of pioneers. And that's not easy. Like pioneers got to stick together, even if they don't have the same like style or whatever. But like, not that we don't have the same style, but like, there's other artists who maybe like we don't have a similar style to, but like we need to stick together because we're all going somewhere, and we're taking the risk and being brave, and like we gotta work our tails off. And like I love that part of like Gary Vee stuff. Like I love all that stuff because it's just true, and that's why he's resonated so big, is because he realized okay, everybody can do it now, and so let's do it.
How about this too? And gone are the days of building this facade of who you are,
Yeah.
or who you want to be, right?
Yeah.
You are who you are.
Yep.
Promote that, show that, be
Yep.
transparent,
Yep.
and that's going to resonate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you try and put on this facade, the internet's going to find a way to expose you.
Totally.
The internet and social
Yeah.
media will always find a way to expose
So
you,
true.
put you in a box, do something to degrade you, and then at the end of the day, it's going to come full circle, and then you're going to realize, oh, I just faked my life for the
Sure.
last 2 years. Now I got to find myself.
Yep. Well, and that's
That's
why
good. That's a good point.
as much as we take social media seriously, and everything we put on social media, we can get behind and we're proud of. We're not like, oh man, that's not who we are. But like, I also have to remind myself, because so we all have different things we do. We meet every week and we all go through like as if we were a corporation, and we literally go through our projects and we're like, where are we at? And we help each other, and we all have like lead things that we do. And one of the things I do a lot of and end up controlling a ton of, but we're working on actually changing that, because Oprah hopefully is going to help us a ton too. But social media is a big thing in what I do, and I'm realizing like if you take social media and the internet too seriously and you treat it as too real, it actually starts to get really exhausting. And it's important to like daily reminder, like, okay, the internet's not real. It is real, but it's like this is real too. In fact, it's more real, and the internet is just like a mirror of that in a sense. And you can fake it down here and then put it there, but that won't last very long. There's a time limit on that. So like, yeah, the internet and social media are not the like end game.'re just a vessel to get this out.
They're a platform of your product.
Yes. And you can't fake your product. You can, but it won't last very long.
It's almost like nicer than like, I feel like I don't have to, because I know that if I faked who we were, that it would get like snuffed out. So then it's almost like less pressure on me. It's like, oh, we just get to be who we are, because then if that's really a good product, it'll speak for itself. You don't have to like fake who we are.
You're a great product, Zach.
Dude, thank you so much.
Specifically.
Also, shout out Giselle, who just walked in the room.
Yeah,
Shout out
bringing
Giselle.
us all together.
And Penelope Cruz. shout
Another
out.
another guest we've had on because Giselle is
Shout
just
out.
just spreading her arms and bringing us all together.
I love it.
She's mama bear here.
Yeah. But how cool is it that you guys get to create what Yam Haus is? Like what people think about and what they connotate that name with, you guys get to create. That's one of the coolest things that we found through Backpocket. Like we get to say, when you hear the word Backpocket and you're in the Twin Cities, we want you guys to think of us, and you want to think of that gratitude, humility, transparency.
Love that.
And it's just something that we got from Gary Vee, but we were trying to bring it on our own way, trying to spin it in our own version.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Super cool.
And you guys get the same thing. That ball's in your platform.
It's a huge privilege.
What's funny is like you guys are like, yeah, we're a band, but we're also like trying to promote this message. And then sometimes when I'm really unpacking what we do, I'm like, man, long term, like I kind of want to be like a band. Like not that we
are,
but like that's kind of how we have to operate nowadays. And like
It's cool.
we're a unit, but we're one thing that we talked about in one of our previous podcasts was, a lot of podcasters, most podcasters, got big elsewhere, and then came onto the podcast platform to tell their story and monetize and really promote something authentic.
Yeah.
Whereas Andrew and I, we picked up podcasting and we were like, hey, let's start recording. We built our brand on podcasting, so when Andrew and I are out doing something else 10 years from now, it's gonna be like, oh, those guys are big over here in like VR world or something, but they got big in podcasting.
Sure.
It's
funny.
cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing because you guys got to think about that too. Like Yam Haus something's gonna be different in 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Like
For
10
sure.
years ago, we didn't have Venmo and all that crap. Snapchat.
How does it live, dude?
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It is insane.
It's crazy. But man, this has been great.
Let's transition.
Should we? Yeah.
So we transition
No,
to
let's
the back end of our show.
Cool.
And we start off with a game.
Game alert.
Yeah, game alert.
So,
I'm gonna get competitive.
I'm
yeah.
getting hot already.
No need to get competitive, Zach. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
Jack is coming off for Seth.
Yeah, please do. Here, we have a sparkling.
Oh, sick.
Shirt's coming off for
are we
Lawrence.
recording this?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
You want to get another?
We popping?
Yeah, I think this would be good.
Slow. Just into the mic.
That was very harsh. Just audio
Saw
equipment
some red things on that.
I've never had a sparkling. Are these? Hey,
Oh wait, is that part of the game? Okay, no, okay.
Oh shit.
It is very hot, but we survive.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry about the
wearing-
hoodie.
Dude, for the listeners out there, Seth is wearing like
His velvet shirt.
a velvet shirt. It
If
feels
only,
so
if only you
good.
could see and touch it.
It does feel very good.
But the inside's actually very harsh on my skin.
Seth's hair is actually velvet too. It's weird.
So you
Genetic
You
thing.
should flip it inside out. Put the velvet on the inside.
Honestly, it's all about me.
Okay. So
That's
I'm seeing a
what
little
that
bit of a
says.
trend, and so I'm seeing Zach and Jake, a little bit of a similar haircut. Little 5 cut on the
High
side
and tight.
with
Yeah.
high and tight, looking
What
looking
number?
good.
What number
And
is
then we
it?
got
That's a half.
It's,
Yeah,
it
it's a half.
might be a half. I don't know.
Okay.
What are you rocking?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Clean me up on the sides.
Yeah.
A little off the top.
Actually, last time I
like-
got my
I
haircut.
like that length on your face.
Yeah,
It's good.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
The last time I got my
I like my
haircut,
beard.
she switched my hair the other way.
Wow.
It used to
Okay.
flop this way, and now it flops the other way. It changed my life.
Yep.
Changed the way I see the
It's
world.
little things.
That's cool.
I've been thinking about that.
Wait,
because
so-
I've been pushing this way the whole time, and it's
Yeah.
that you can tell that this way is receded even more. So it's
No
like, do
way.
I push it?
Wow.
It actually messed with Zach's vision for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
he was
yeah, I kept
stumbling
stumbling,
around.
yeah.
Yeah, your balance.
Really
Like,
changed
Wait, what's the pattern you're noticing? I want to hear
Well,
your thought.
Yes.
Jake and Zach, very similar haircuts. Lars, Seth.
Dirtbag.
Dude, you guys are
like
just
Rick.
looking wonky, bro. It's not.
Where we keep looking at each other like, are you gonna quit? Am I gonna quit?
Yeah,
Like, I think it's
multiple
Don't do it. Don't
Yeah,
quit.
it's getting out of hand. I love it.
Multiple people have told me like, dude, you gotta convince Lawrence to cut his hair.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
I
he's
love
his
that.
own person.
Do you guys
He's getting
understand?
more pressure than
Do you guys
me.
understand how? Think about how crazy this is. So I just kind of unpacked this by listening to the Fighter and the Kid. Shout out to the Fighter and the
Shout
Kid.
out.
Not a sponsor.
Not a
but
sponsor,
great
but-
people,
Yeah.
influencers of us.
Ryan,
Unbelievably
Big
great
shout out.
people. You might think they're an MMA show, but they're not.
No, it's
they're
great.
they're just a couple guys having a good time. But anyways, Theo Von's on it, the Rat
Yeah.
King, and he grew his hair out just because he didn't care, and now it's like a brand of his. Like people will send him videos of other bad haircuts that look like him, and then ask him if that's him.
Doesn't he have,
and
like,
then
a mullet?
yeah, so he's got
He
the
has
most
locks.
gender neutral haircut
Yeah.
of all
I
time.
love it.
And it's unbelievable, but it's a brand is my
Sure,
point.
sure.
Like you guys, that's a brand. Seth, your hair and how greasy it might look or not.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
brand.
yeah.
Or
Just
not.
theoretically, it might be greasy. That was like the most polite.
Yeah, that was so
Can't see
funny.
He said, "You're so greasy." Let's just be clear.
No, but
I love it.
But like if anybody tried to brush your hair, like all bets are off. It's not happening.
Yeah, they're gonna break their comb.
But like you need to promote that. You need to promote your unbrushable hair, and then
Sure.
like the grease that Seth's
Dude,
putting out here. Think about how like
Yeah.
that's content. That's
I know.
actual
I
content
know.
that people are like, dude, I have greasy hair.
I should give
Like my
Foreman
name's
it.
Gary Grease. I got greasy hair.
I love that.
I like that. Yeah. Actually, we did a vlog. We were like planning some photo shoots like a year ago. Lawrence has great hair. Like Lawrence has curly.
Wow,
it's-
thanks for that
Lawrence
information.
has great hair, and he goes to Nashville and completely shaves his head. out
Yeah,
of
it's like my
nowhere.
Britney year. I had a Britney year.
Yeah, and we were like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, I feel
Buzz,
great hair.
Buzz his hair.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
We had to postpone the photo shoot.
Yeah, we had to
for
make
like
a
a couple
People were
months.
angry, like within
Our
our
label-
team.
yeah, wasn't
Zach
happy.
was angry for
I was
sure.
pissed, yeah.
Like,
You have
like
great hair.
very angry.
You don't have the luxury of just getting a haircut if you're in a band.
Oh, wow.
Without telling other people, Jake, today, honestly,
Every time you went
Yeah,
out, you
wow.
gotta tell me.
I snuck off and got a haircut.
If we
Didn't really
seem
tell
salty
anybody.
at
Wasn't part of
Jake
the plan,
during this
right?
podcast, it's because we
dude.
were.
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
do that.
they're pretty upset. I told Zach, but
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
you tell me.
the whole like it looks good thing, that was all facade. I'm actually.
I like
gonna
leaving
talk
it.
later.
I think there's a magic in leaving it and then watching the world change around you as you grow your hair out, which includes people going, "Your hair looks ridiculous," and you just go. The fact that I didn't do anything to my scalp, and that literally turned into a world where now you are saying your hair looks crazy. Like that's power to me. Like that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's crazy in itself.
Yeah, we're talking about it. I love it. Anyway, sorry.
It's content, dude.
It's content. Dude.
Like you guys could have a weekly hair vlog where you talk about your hair problems.
Dude, I don't. I
Gary
really,
Grease
I'm putting
and,
zero. I'm putting zero predictions on this, but like I really am gonna grow up for a while. I don't know what it's gonna look like, But there were some days I literally think about, like, what would it look like? And again, I'm not saying this is what's gonna happen. But what would it look like? Imagine if I had hair just like super long. That's when it just gets like weird.
Did you touch your knees?
I touched my knees.
You just touched your knees
Down
when
to
you said
here.
hair super long.
Down to here. Down
That's
to your
like-
knees, dude. That's like wizard.
All right, let's move on.
So our
Game alert.
our game.
All right,
Game.
let's do it.
Let's
do it.
All right, so we have created lookalike. This is a game of lookalikes. So we're going to go
Great.
down the line and give you, if you agree, I think you will agree on all fronts. But
I not only do I agree, but I probably already know mine just because of my life and
Okay.
what's happened thus far.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I'm excited.
All right, let's start with life. Let's go Zach first. Zach, I believe you look like Johnny Bananas. Are you familiar with the challenge?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
All right, so this one hit for sure because Giselle's over here laughing
She
super
laughed,
quiet.
yeah.
So you're like a less
I'm looking
muscular version and
Sure.
less like drama-ridden Johnny Bananas.
Okay.
So he's made his name on MTV The Challenge. It's a 33-season show. The fact that you haven't heard it is
Well,
ridiculous.
maybe I've heard of the challenge. Maybe I just don't know Johnny Bananas.
He's the face of the
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah.
So you are Johnny Bananas. It's a good thing.
Cool.
You've won 6 challenges,
Sick.
and you've made a lot of money just being on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, do we-
Okay, so we'll come back to you and get your reaction.
Sure.
And that's when we'll smoothly transition to you, Seth. So, Seth, you are a poor man's Jon Snow.
Oh.
Is that from Hunger Games?
No, it's
Yeah.
Game
No,
of
yeah.
Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
He goes, no, yeah.
He's got that white spiky hair that like
No.
the eyebrows
John-
that are like
no, dude.
gelled up.
Dude, what are you talking about?
Do you want to be Jon Snow?
Dude, Jon Snow has like long, like hair like you. He's like he's a bad at like.
He's a good-looking
Oh,
dude.
wow.
Take that in stride.
Zach, that's a great.
I was
It's like
thinking
he.
a lot worse.
Kit Harington, if you want to look.
Kit
That's his
Harington,
actor's
yep.
name. Yep. So
I've
it's
read
a
the
good
books.
thing.
I need someone now to look that up for Seth.
I have no.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, someone will figure it out.
Alright.
We got a lot of bodies. We're doing a podcast, Andrew. We don't need-
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
Okay, so now Jake,
Jake,
we
believe,
struggle with this.
yeah, we had to really dive deep, and we think you look like Matthew Dellavedova.
Ooh.
I don't know who that
Deli.
is.
You know who that is?
Yes.
Yeah. He plays for the Bucks.
You're the point guard for the Bucks.
I'm in. It's my dream.
You played in the finals, and you won a finals.
Yeah.
With
So
LeBron.
it's like
With
the
LeBron.
Pistons almost.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Your inner basketball career has been fulfilled.
He's drama though. That guy, he stirs it up.
Yeah.
really.
He's gritty. He's very gritty.
Very gritty.
And okay, so now you look that up.
Johnny, what is it?
No, you're Matthew
Matthew
Dellavedova.
Dellavedova. He's an
Johnny
Australian
Dellavedova.
basketball. Yeah.
Greg Gary.
So we have 2 for you, Lars.
Wow.
Yes.
Come on.
Declan, would you like to start?
Yeah. Let's
I really
unpack
want
this.
to be right.
So.
Yeah, I hope you were right.
So this one, this is my favorite one, I think. But you're a little less Jewish version of Little Dicky.
I don't know who it is.
You don't know who Little Dicky is?
Well, I mean, like, I'm trying to think.
You're the less Jewish version of Lil Dicky.
Yeah.
Lil Dicky.
Lil Dicky was the one. He's a white rapper. He was in those Trojan.
Is it? Oh, sure.
Okay, he did that song, dude. He did that
Yeah,
song.
no, you're a little less.
I
You're
think
a
I
little
know
less
that.
Jewish version of Lil Dicky.
I don't have the facial hair though. I can't bring it. So therefore, a little less Jewish because
Yes.
they can do the beards.
Exactly.
The other one is, can you help me pronounce it? It's Marziano Fellini.
Mariano Fellaini. He's
Fellaini.
He's the
The
midfielder.
center back.
Yeah, center midfielder for Manchester United.
Plays on Belgium.
What's his
He's a
name?
Belgium
Can you-
team.
How do you type?
I have it written on my phone right there. It's
Okay, yeah,
yeah. I don't.
Okay,
Johnny
so now-
Bananas is pretty good. So let's go back.
So let's
Zach,
let's
do
circle
you
back.
think you look like Johnny Bananas?
I can see that.
Oh, whoa.
Oh,
Johnny. Is there anything on his body?
No, it says notorious over his dingle.
yo, he's also got a lot of
a
tattoos.
reality star.
Zach,
I got
you,
one.
you have a tattoo.
Yeah, one
That's
right
you.
here.
That's me at a Yam Haus
That's
show.
good. Dude, thanks.
This is me at a show.
Yep.
Yeah, it's you.
You guys are honing in on the hair.
Yes.
And you're nailing that.
This
part.
is like
Preface it with your hair.
True
I
Johnny
love
Banana
that.
holding a banana.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So that is you.
Okay.
His last name's not Bananas.
It does look similar.
Is that him?
I gotta get better. I think the facial hair is the facial hair
His
is
last
lasting
is
in
very
this
well
role.
trimmed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Seth.
This is who I thought you were saying.
Okay.
Yo, that's not Jon Snow, Seth.
That would be Kiefer Sutherland.
And that's Hunger Games.
That's Hunger Games.
He searched Snow Hunger Games. And
I was like, that's the only
that's
guy.
Donald
That's the only
Sutherland.
snow guy I know.
So
But
Kit Harington.
I did look up the actual guy, Jon
So
Snow.
good.
And he's, I'm gonna tell you, I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Sweet.
His hair is a little bit curly. I have super straight hair.
So wait, let's go back to Zach real quick. Grade us on a 1 to 10. Where do you think our accuracy lies?
yeah, I think like a 8.5.
8.5. Sweet.
I don't
appreciate that.
I'm nervous about his. Is he a douche?
Yes.
Well, see, I'm bummed out about that.
That's cool though.
We don't
Right?
know, like,
Oh no, that's not cool. Oh yeah, it's not
it's
cool.
kind of cool to
not
be
cool.
at times.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I can be an ass, but I don't think. I don't know.
So quick shout out to douche.
Sure.
Douches are like. I don't know how to unpack that because they're good and bad.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
they
fine.
provide a service, but they're also
It's like they're
not.
the kind of people that create problems and then solve the problems that they created.
And then I
Which
think
is
I'm
total douche move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and you
then
create
snowball.
an entire reality show from it, and then run it for 33 seasons, and it gets
He's
sponsored by
smart,
Under Armour.
dude. Like,
Very smart.
He got it.
he's got it going on financially.
So shout out Johnny Bananas.
Yes.
So did you end up finding Jon Snow?
I did. Yeah. He looks sad often.
I mean, he's a sad. He's
Is he a sad guy?
He's frowning in all
It's
of the
cold,
pictures.
But I like the fact that he wears like really big furry things around his shoulders.
Seth has done that.
It goes hand in hand with the shirt you're wearing. It's got fur to it.
Yeah, it's true. It's just baby fur.
I still have not seen anything but a frown.
No, it looks good. I'm gonna say it's a solid because of the hair. His hair's got a nice curl to it. I'm gonna say it's a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
But the facial hair is on point, and I probably don't smile that much. So
Yeah.
maybe like I got
Seth's
that
a sad
going for me
man.
with him.
Yes, that's a bummer.
For sure. He's
Okay.
a
So how about this though? If someone were to talk about you, like Seth, guitarist, Yam Haus, and they said the first thing they said out of their mouth was, "Oh, he looks kind of sad." Like, how would you feel about
I
that?
wouldn't be happy about
You'd
that.
be sad. That'd make you sad, which would be
That'd make me
selfish.
Because you said that about Jon Snow.
It's true now. So. You look sad. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
No,
No, I feel like I have gotten a lot of comments that I don't like. I'm not super expressive. Like I'm very just like middle of the road. Like all right, do my job. Don't mess with me.
Hey, yo, you
Acid
express
gas.
through shredding the guitar.
Yeah,
It
but when
makes
I'm
me
on
so
stage,
happy.
I'm always smiling. I feel
Oh,
like.
yeah, yeah.
And I've gotten comments
That's
like
true.
that. Don't see me
In
smile.
fact, the other day we were in St. Cloud last night and we were playing on their TV show, and we're like in this quiet room. We're playing. It's like this very like stiff studio environment. So it's not like lively rock and roll where you have to kind of like get into it on your own a little
you
bit.
really gotta love
And
it.
I look over to the one point. He's got the most intense.
Joyous.
Like it was like almost it was either like the best friend of my life running to me in a field or like an evil witch brewing. It was like
Potion.
it was like so aggressive and it almost like threw me off the side. I was like, okay,
that's
I need to go back to the mic. Like, that's scary.
I love what I do.
Well, give us a rating.
He's
How do
extreme.
you think we did with
What do
Kid
you think?
Harrington?
7.5.
7.5.
We do this
I
one.
feel good about that.
We shot a music video where we dressed up in 70s gear.
Yeah, Seth's got
And
a
he had
great
a
mustache.
mustache, like
Great
just a mustache, and he got this a lot. The guy from This Is Us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hair is spot on there.
Yeah,
'cause it's-
spot on.
Yeah.
You got
So
that.
I know
That's-
him
He got
more
greasy
from
hair too, so
Rocky.
Greasy hair can make it.
Oh sure.
Rocky, the
new one.
the last one before Creed. He was Rocky's son.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
hmm And you know that famous thing where he's like, you gotta keep coming. You get the punches coming.
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
keep going up. He's the one he's telling it to.
Love it.
So Milo.
My world just got
I can't remember his name.
absolutely shut.
All right, Jerry.
All right.
You're a ball full of knowledge, man.
Yeah.
All right, Jake.
You know a lot. That's cool. Matthew Della Vedova. That's
Correct.
his name, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so here's a picture that I found.
Yep.
That's a good. I want to know that guy. He looks very cool.
Yeah,
He does. You got the sweet part.
Yes, he does. He does look very. He's smiling in a lot of photos. Even this one.
He's Australian, I think.
He is.
Is he?
And he's
Well,
the greatest
I am too.
basketball player.
Yeah,
We've seen a little Australian.
Yeah, I have a
Facial
little
structure is
Australian.
close.
Yeah, I can. Okay, I
A
see
little
some of the
bit wider in the face.
I see some similarities. The thing that throws me off is he's blonde hair, blue eyes.
Sure. Jake, be honest right now. Like, this is an honest, safe place.
Yeah, you can give us a real rating.
I'll give you a real rating. I think.
Jake, it's okay if you say something that's not always positive.
I know you put Jake in the best spot.
Yeah, Jake is the most
I'm glad you
positive
did this.
Yeah, we like critical
really
feedback.
helpful.
man.
I love this.
Speak your mind.
I love this. I will give you. I'll give you a 3.
Jake,
It's a little harsh, guys.
Not even like a 3-2.
Jake,
I was
Or like a
taking
take it
3-3.
off the podcast. That was too mean.
That's
I
the
will-
meanest thing Jake's ever done in his entire life.
I am so shocked.
And the
I thought
reason
we
why.
could say
the reason
anything,
why-
we'd get a 10 from you.
What's that?
I thought we could say anything and we'd get a 10.
Yeah, I know. That's it. You guys are
That's
really
what we
pushing your boundaries. Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, I think this is my reasoning. First of all, blonde hair, blue eyes. He's smiling. That's what accounts for the 3.
Yep.
But he looks pretty
He
sporty.
has a mouth, so 3.
I do see a nose, and he looks pretty sporty, and I'm probably the least sporty out of
Yeah, but
this
we did
crew.
our research, and we knew that as a 10-year-old, you really wanted to be a professional basketball player. So we reached in
I
our
like
back
this.
pocket, and we pulled out Matthew Dellavedova.
I like this. This is you guys dug deep. You guys did
Deep in the
effort
back
was there.
pocket right now.
He's also a point guard, which man, I would probably be a forward.
Jake's a point.
You'd be a forward.
I'd probably be a forward in basketball.
Okay.
You get
but-
tossed around.
But you're a forward in intramural basketball because you're the gritty guy who gets the rebounds, that boxes the dudes out that no one else wants to do, which again
That's him.
is Matthew Dellavedova.
So we went off more of personality and the grit that he
Okay.
has that relates with you.
Whoa. You know what? All right, we're gonna have to take a break. I have to watch a
game.
sports recap of Matthew Dellavedova right now. Okay, well, I'll have to do some research.
We're making you feel way worse than you should.
We appreciate
Is
your
what
honesty.
we're doing as
Okay.
podcasters.
I like that.
Just wanted to let you
I like
know.
that.
It's
Now
good
to
though.
Lars,
Yeah, Lars, let's get this
You
going.
got
I'm
two.
gonna give you guys
combined total.
combined total. I'm gonna go back to the other guy. What's his name? Maranio. Yeah, Fellini. Went to his
Do you want to hear the one that Lawrence hears all the time?
Yes.
Lawrence gets told
Yeah.
weekly that he looks like Gabe. From
I need to.
The Office.
I'm gonna unveil
Yeah,
this.
Giselle said that.
Giselle said
The
that.
first thing I was gonna
Yep.
give you was that I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
This guy was the closer one. I'll give this guy.
The Manchester United guy.
I'll give this guy a 5.
That's great.
Okay, so the
I'll give him a 5.
Fellaini.
Facial hair.
Fellini. I mean.
The hair is
The hair.
almost equal to
The hair
yours.
is almost equal. There was one point where I literally thought, "Oh, is that literally me at a Yam Haus concert?" I thought at one point.
Well, see, that's the other thing is Andrew's only known you as a Yam House.
This like that
concert.
literally looks like a recent photo that was taken of me.
Oh yeah.
It does.
So that's I'll give you that one.
Okay.
5.5 strong.
Okay.
The other one I can't even remember.
Little Dicky.
Lil Dicky.
A less Jewish
I'm gonna
version
go
of Lil
down that one more to like a 4, 3.5.
Dicky. Yeah, that was a reach.
I want to see this
Dude,
guy.
he has that song.
I-
Where he's talking about aliens.
Yes.
But I thank you
my
because
God.
actually now I want to look up.
Absolute
I don't know
clown.
anything about Lil Dicky, and now I'm gonna get into him. So thank you. And I will end with the Gabe thing is unbelievable. You guys have to
that
see
a bit?
this.
No, yeah, you look like
Okay,
Gabe, but it's
fine.
like you're not Gabe anymore.
No, but
man.
also the best thing
I
too
appreciate
is
it.
that.
All right, I'll receive Marion Fellini.
Marion, sure. But here's the thing, like you used to be Gabe because you had short hair and you have the face, man.
The
Like you
short
are
hair,
Gabe as
yeah.
the
Yeah,
face.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want
And
another
that-
one that Lawrence is talking?
Yeah.
What?
People all the time say it.
Logan Paul.
Dude, you look like Logan Paul.
Which is actually
Dark
Which is
hair
the best.
version.
I lose my mind every time that happens. I think it's so.
Please like and subscribe. Okay.
All right, well that was our game.
That was
I actually
like that.
appreciate you.
That's good.
I appreciate you separating my identity from Gabe because that was an exhausting life,
Yeah.
and I received this new identity.
Fellini.
Next time we
The Belgian
hang,
kid.
we're gonna have
exotic.
one for you guys.
Sweet.
We're gonna brainstorm and we're
Yes.
gonna do it for you.
You do have a Jason Mraz,
Yeah, I was.
Jason Mraz.
but you don't have Jason Mraz facial vibes going on.
Okay.
Oh, he doesn't.
But if you put your face with what you got on that hat, it could be
Or
Jason
combined
Mraz.
Jason Mraz.
I like that in the moment.
Collaboratively.
I think that's really got to be our sales pitch as a podcast. So we're a podcast where he has this Jason Mraz hat on, and I look like Jason Mraz. So together,
We make.
the back pocket is Jason Mraz.
You should change your
I
name.
love
You're
it.
Jason. You're Mraz.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Jason
What do you got?
Mraz.
Little song.
Swoop, blah, 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 blah.
There's a little Jason Mraz for you.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Great race.
Okay, so trapping the puck and finishing as we always do. We have two final questions.
They're both collectively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So the last one is, do you guys have any questions for us?
Where do you want to be in 10 years and why?
Yeah, I got some too. That was it.
Okay, well,
Better get ready.
Zach, we'll get to
I'm
your
locked and
question. We have to answer
You go
Laura's
first.
question.
Yeah,
That was a good first, like,
one
off the
person
cuff.
answer each one. Since it's
Yeah. Okay. 10 years. I write. So this is like goes back kind of the Grant Cardone 10x thing. Where do you want to be in 10 years type thing?
Oh, sure.
And that's where I really unpacked it. So, oh man, this is tough for me because I'm just in such a wild spot. But I want to be. I want to be kind of at the face of podcasting. Like I want to have a prominent podcast people know us about. But I also want to have other things that like, kind of when I went back to like, oh, these guys made it big in podcasting. I want to be in something else where they know me doing something else, but know me originally as the Knucklehead
A
Podcaster.
diverse portfolio
Correct.
you want to have.
What were
Correct.
some of those things that you feel like you could tap into?
Next things I could tap into, I want to get into comedy. I want to start doing stand-up.
You dirty dog.
Dude, I feel that
I was
vibe.
waiting for him to say that.
That's cool.
Once you say it out loud, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Fun
also
Mhm.
I also want to. So I was an engineer, and I still want to have a part of that in my life. And I don't think I don't have the capacity right now to start an engineering company, because then that would mean I can't do the podcast, you know? So I want to be back into like renewable energy or something around the next thing coming up, which is like the growth of solar panels, wind, all that crap. So I want to be in that area, and I want to have my structure, my brand, and everything that the podcast has done incorporated into all of it.
Dude, that's so cool. I think our generation is afraid to like really make big claims of like, I want to be at the face of podcasting. Like, I don't hear a lot of people like say that. And just like speaking it out. Like, we said the same thing for a band. Like, we want to be
Biggest band in the
biggest
world.
band in the world.
Yeah.
And like, we would say that to people, and they kind of be like, that's kind of. But like, dude, I love that. I'm
Yeah.
super on board.
We also want to be the face of podcasting.
Yeah.
So
We got a competition going on.
I mean, yeah.
There's
Can't be a monopoly.
Be the best.
Yeah, no, we can't be.
Yeah, I love it.
I want to be
You
not
guys are
the
sharing it. I love it.
not the face of podcasting, but a face in podcasting.
Sure.
Because it's so wide.
But
Andrew.
dude, we were talking about Fighter and the Kid.
Yeah.
The Brandon dude, he
Yeah.
like does stand up. He's like starting a coffee company. He does the podcast. Like he's got his hand in so many
That's
spots.
cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
You have to do
UFC
that now.
fighter.
the game.
Yeah, he was a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
I think he played football college.
Yeah, he's an NFL player.
He's a beast.
That's a UFC fighter.
Anyways, Andrew, what do you got for us?
Yeah,
10 years.
I was gonna bounce it.
Oh, you want to
Next
bounce?
question.
Okay. Next question.
Next question. What you got? I felt some energy from this side of the room.
Oh, a question for you guys.
Yes.
Shoot, what was I gonna ask? I had a really good one.
Seth, I felt some energy
have
from
you-
you.
have you used
Do
a
you
bidet?
guys share a room together?
We do not.
Oh yeah, I got it.
It's on the
You guys went to St. Thomas.
Yes.
You guys started at St. Thomas. Like you guys were like a freshman at St. Thomas.
Oh yes. That's
What hall did you live in?
Ireland.
That was Brady.
I was in Brady too. Brady what?
Brady 129.
Okay, I was in Brady 6. Something.
Okay.
I was up top.
So we had some nicer rooms up there.
Yeah, we had the nice stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a bidet?
We actually have a bidet on every toilet in our room.
No way.
Yeah.
You're lying.
We
So
have-
you guys need to come over
I was just
and
saying,
check this
way,
out.
Dude.
We actually don't have toilet paper. We just have.
Just straight up.
You don't?
Shut up.
It's just waste. That's talk
long
about
did it
renewable
take you to
energy.
get
It's a waste
I
of.
don't get why everyone doesn't use
Dude,
bidet.
we need to get a bidet tomorrow.
Yeah.
So how much do they cost? I'm curious.
They
to
came
invest
with the
in.
house.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that.
Are they heated?
No way. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
at a bidet right now.
Yeah, they're heated.
They have it. They have some extreme power.
Wow.
So we show them
so
every single
jealous.
person that walks into our house. We show them every room. When we get to the bathroom, our bathroom, because we feel most obligated to do it in our bathroom. We show them the bathroom, and then, hey, we have a bidet. Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
And without them even answering, we immediately turn it on, and it just hits the window from across. Yeah. It just hits the window. And we're like, yep, that's the bidet. Turn around and walk out, and just look at their reaction.
Oh, I
It's-
love
it's
that.
all. It's that. It's
That's
all.
content. That's
Amazing, man.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
I did some math, and Charmin Soft right now is running for 16 rolls, $12. 2 of those a month. When you're looking at a house of 5 dudes taking a lot of poops,
Yep.
that's $32. We, as a house, are saving $32 a month by using only bidets.
I
So I
like
just
that.
want to shout out bidets.
Props to you.
Shout out
I
bidets.
want to say.
Wow, I'm really gonna butter it up. That's amazing.
I don't get worked up about much, but when we start talking about bidets, I'm like passionate about.
Dude,
I want a bidet.
I'm with you. I'm not as passionate as so. Zach will actually. Do you feel
Yeah,
compelled
sure.
to share this?
Okay, so if you don't have a bidet, you can use those like moist, flushable towelettes.
Let's not use the word moist, but
Yep.
See,
Yeah.
I don't get weird how that word is.
Yeah, moist.
It says it on the
moist.
thing, but it's kind of like a manual bidet kind of.
Well,
It's like a manual bidet. That would be like
You're talking about
it's like me
dude
going
wipes.
down to the ground with
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a ladle of water.
I've
just
used
like-
manual bidet in India. That's my only experience, and it was an awful experience.
Oh no!
So I was in India, and there was literally a hose, and it was like,
It was hands-on
There was-
bidet.
Yo, we played at a
and
house.
so I've been afraid. I've been like, no way, I'm not going
We
back
did.
to that.
When we were in India together, did I have to wipe my hands?
It was my first time.
Okay, anyways.
hopefully it was.
Trap the puck.
Yeah, trap it in.
No, we used a bidet at a house in
Cedarburg, the same place we got in our beef with Hippocampus.
Yeah, and the guy had worked at Kohler. He was like instrumental in like designing the bidet. So like, you could play music. Can you
It's
play
a
music?
touchscreen.
It like lit up. It had like little
Yeah.
things. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. It's a new market, I think. I mean, it's not a new market. That's
I'm gonna be the face.
But I,
Dude, I want to do the face.
I mean, think about like pooping can be like an experience now. Like it can be like a
It could be content.
It can be content,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, that's as old as time. If you don't laugh at poop and fart, there's something going wrong.
No,
And the fact that I said fart, like singular fart,
One fart. Everyone knows the rules.
One fart.
this conversation diverged.
here we go.
So great questions so far. Do you have any others?
Are you guys Vikings fans?
No, Broncos and Steelers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're a little bit
I'm
fragile
in a
right now.
I'm in a shitstorm.
Yeah.
I got a question. If you could have one person or group of people on this podcast in the next
Yeah,
year,
that's good.
It's a great
who,
podcast.
who would you like to have?
Okay.
Like, who would be like, man, if we do this in a year,
It's guaranteed
This is
gonna
like-
happen.
we're freaking doing it.
Yeah.
First one for me would be Les Miles.
Ooh,
I want to talk. I want to talk to Les Miles. He doesn't coach anymore.
He's an analyst.
I don't know what he does. Dr Pepper commercials. That's what I know what Les does right now. But
Interesting.
I want to tap into the Mad Hatter. If anyone doesn't know, he's the old LSU football coach. Was just a nut.
Isn't it like a scandal?
No, he didn't have a scandal. I don't
Okay,
think.
good.
Anyway, who do you want to get on, Andrew?
I want to get Joe Rogan on our show. He's the epitome of why I got started into this.
Mm-hmm.
His intellectual curiosity is through the roof, and I feel like
He's funny too.
yeah,
Dude.
he's really funny.
I would also say, off of Joe Rogan, pardon my take, I would love to sit down with Big Cat and PFT and unpack their whole story of starting their podcast.
Sure.
Because we really followed it, so we know it, but like, it
Big Cat's
really.
a Wisconsin guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Any other questions?
Let's traffic puck on that.
Yeah.
And then one final question.
One final question.
We'll go down the line.
Yeah.
What did you learn today from the time that you woke up to when we're having this conversation right now? We'll start with you, Lars.
Yeah, I like that.
Whoa. Okay. I was thinking about how today can it be learning things about yourself.
Absolutely.
I kind of knew this before, but today it really like feel like it took another level of awareness in my own life. I can drink a lot of fluid, like no problem.
Yeah, you're down
Like
to tea, 2
and
waters,
it's not
and
even,
sparkling water.
and it is because I did think of it because I looked at this, but more so it was just like I was drinking because I'm getting kind of like throaty right now, sick weirdness going on, and I literally I can snap my finger and pound like 3 big glasses of water back to back to back. Has anybody seen me do it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're doing a good
it's like
job.
insane. Like I like am just to the point now where I like have like, and before it was just like second nature. I didn't even think about it, and now I'm like, man, like that's a cool thing about myself that I learned today. Very narcissistic. Like I'm proud of myself. I think I'm awesome.
That's cool.
So
No,
sweet.
that's awesome. Like you literally drank a gallon of water over this hour and a half.
I know,
We've had a
and I do have to
conversation.
pee, and I peed before we came out.
Very
So
sorry.
Right on.
Okay, that's actually, it's funny you asked because I think I was processing something that I was thinking about in the car ride over here, and you guys asking me actually made me like realize I came to a conclusion, which is kind of sweet. So we had a couple meetings today starting this morning, and then I had another one this afternoon, and I think I just had this thought. I was like, I think so much of our time every day is just not spent the way we want it to, the way we want to spend it because we don't schedule it the way that we want to schedule it. And I just had this thought. I was like, whoa, that's interesting. Like there's a lot of action steps specifically related to like Yam Haus stuff that I've been wanting to take for weeks. And it's amazing that it doesn't happen until you actually make time for it. And I was like, whoa, it was simple, but it at the same time like stuck out to me. Yeah, it was profound. Where I'm just like, oh wow, the things that I want to get done
scheduling
can actually happen if you create margin or actually like write it down. It's not going to get done even if you put it on a list sometimes because so much of your time is occupied throughout the day. But if you actually want to see action steps get taken on a vision for something you want to see happen, like actually schedule the time to do it as well. It was just interesting.
Phenomenal.
Simple, but whatever.
I love that, dude.
all in a day's work for you.
Yeah.
Moving right to left.
Jon Snow, what do you got for us?
Today was a good day actually. We've been working on, it's just a very, very micro example of something that I think I've learned to appreciate more today than I have in the past is I do a lot of the booking of the band, and so I'm always like cold calling, getting rejected constantly, like reaching out to people
And getting accepted.
and getting accepted sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes it works.
I'm not sure what the ratio is, but it's not great.
It doesn't
It's not
matter.
a passing grade.
Count your nose and then use it as an example.
Mm.
Use it as leverage to what you're doing.
But I was talking to there's a brewery in Madison called Capital Brewery, and we're like trying to find some place to go like between Columbus and here to work some tour out. Regardless, Cindy at Capital Brewery was like super into Yam Haus and like the music, like the actual music itself was like super exciting to her, to where it didn't matter. Like it was the easiest gig I've ever booked because there was pure interest and pure like enjoyment.
Pure
of,
Michigan.
like, something that was just like real, and like it didn't like work. It was like, oh, like we share this common thing that like draws us to this thing together, and like I don't know, like detail. I have no idea how it's gonna go. Like it could be a complete nightmare of a gig, but like the fact that there was a conversation that was like we're moving forward together because of our shared interest, as opposed to like my interest and your like just letting us do this thing, or like just like at the cost of you. And that was like, man, I want to work more like that, to where we're working with people and we're building teams that there's shared interest of what's getting accomplished, and that like people are stoked to be a part of that kind of stuff.
Think about this. Andrew and I caught on this like a week ago, and you're literally saying the same thing. And it's so when you want to get something from someone, you have to provide them with unique opportunity. You have to provide them with value, but you also have to sell yourself and have them believe in you first.
Yep.
Like say, okay, like an example would be investors. You want money from this person, but you also like you don't want to just go to them and ask them for money. You want them to believe in you first, and then the money will come. You want to go to them with advice. Show them that you're a personal person. Show them all these different things. Show them the intangibles, and then they'll see what they're investing in. They probably have a general idea of what you stand for and what you guys want to do. Yeah, they're a band. Yeah, they're a podcast. They're doing this. Surface level looks really cool. But do I believe in Seth? Do I believe in the Backpocket? Do I believe in these people? That's what really matters. So sell yourself first, and then you'll book everything, man.
Dude,
Everything. Without fail.
Sell yourself right now.
That's
Yes.
What do you got, Zach?
Yeah, I want to dumb it down a little bit.
Please.
Right on.
Finally.
I hurt my neck last week, and so I've been putting icy hot on my neck, and I got some on my fingers today, and
you
then
rubbed your-
touched my tongue.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Don't do
I learned
that.
today
You learned
that
a lesson. Don't do that.
Don't put icy hot in your mouth.
What was the
And-
cure?
No,
There is no cure.
Time.
What did it feel like?
Time heals all.
Well, and it was also it was a roll-on thing, and it had lidocaine in it, which is like
No.
it like numbs your nerves.
No,
So
no,
like
no, no.
it wasn't very much,
Candy
or else it would have like really freaked out my
That's why
mouth.
you eat 8,000 candy.
But yeah, I was editing the vlog today actually, and all of a sudden I was like, something tastes like weird in my mouth, and all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, for sure, like touch
Numbed
this
your
stuff
own
and
mouth.
touched my mouth.
Your
It
mouth's like,
tasted really bad, and it felt
Oh.
weird. So the thing I learned today is to
Don't-
not put icy hot in your mouth.
That's a good warning for people out there.
Yeah.
So shout out to Icy Hot.
Shout out to icy hot, even though
Great brand, a lot of good recovery things coming out
A
of
lot
that.
of good
But-
things going on.
Yeah, but shout out to Hazards. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to pay attention
Shout
to
out
that.
to
It
Hazards.
did say on the thing, don't put in your mouth, so that was
Yeah.
problematic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
That's a wrap.
that's a freaking
Thank you
wrap.
guys so much.
Yes.
I appreciate all your
Thank
time.
you. We love you guys.
Boom. What a time. Bidets. Cannot stress that a little bit at the end there. Thank you guys for listening. What a phenomenal time. If you guys, enjoyed it, let us know. 5-star review. Leave a comment. Like our stuff on Instagram. Everything. Reach out to us.
What a wild time that was. I mean, it was a total full roller coaster. We had every ebb and flow to like the casual conversation to deep intellectual thoughts. It was phenomenal. I loved it.
Absolutely. And we'd love to hear your feedback on the episode. Hit us up at _the Backpocket on Twitter, the Backpocket Podcast on Instagram. Let's collaborate together. We want to bring value to you guys, the listeners, the marketing interns. Get after it. Take care. We will see you next week. Season 2, episode 36.
With Social Butterfly.
Butterfly.
Love
Take
it.
care.
Take care.